What is Space 1026? Space 1026 is a community, a creative community, not an institution. Or you can try and pull some postmodern shit and say Space 1026 does not exist. But then you'd have to do some explaining to the mice that eat our leftovers every night. Postmodernism aside, our team recently traveled to the very real Space 1026 in Center City with a mission to learn more about the communities that make up Philadelphia's art scene. In Space 1026, art, while a physical form of expression, can create both real and imagined communities. While this artistic community is partially constructed by its physical space, the artists can expand their community through social media.
No, I mean, I actually, it's funny, I got like a smartphone in February of this year, like I had a flip phone until then, and like Instagram, I kind of started, kind of in anticipation of the show, like, oh, it'd be nice to kind of get the ball rolling. Just seeing that kind of like, communicating of people who came through here and like made sure to tag, like, oh, went through space and saw this cool show, kind of inspired, and they tag my name. It's like, you never met or you never knew. I probably will never meet them or ever know them, but like that kind of thing is inspiring and is kind of mind-blowing that like that kind of connection can be made regardless of making a connection.
Yeah. Usually people say, oh, that's cool or that's fire and stuff. But I don't really get bad comments. Yeah. Excuse me, David. What happened?
I called.
Okay. But yeah, I think Instagram is that as well as like well, on top of getting feedback, just seeing there's some crazy art I'd never be able to see from other people if I didn't have social media, and that's really cool. Usually it's just like if I'm really stuck, I'll like look at like Will's art, or I'll go on like Instagram or something and try to find inspiration, or just look on random Google searches and stuff like that. But usually I just go off of whatever my mind says. I just try to make it, I guess, as best as possible, and then if I don't, I just like build off of it, because I don't really like throwing stuff away. If I start something, I try to finish it. But
Community building for the members of Space 1026 happens within the collaborative environment of the studio. But 1026 is also a starting point for broader social networking, exposure, and inspiration.
So Philadelphia is like, I don't know, I also haven't been to too many places, but like Philadelphia is kind of known for 2 degrees of separation. Like, oh, you know them, I know them, they're through this other person, So that's kind of how Space, I think, has been for, did they tell you, is it like 20 years it's been around? 20 years? But like, I feel like when I first moved to Philly, there used to be a Tower Records down on like South Street, and I remember like reading in a magazine, The Lowdown or some little magazine that was like a version of like The Fader, like that kind of magazine where it's like street culture kind of stuff. And there's a little article about Space 1026 in there, and I kind of like thought, what a cool thing. It seemed still out of reach at the time, like they were in this magazine, and then once you live in kind of Philadelphia, in the art world, culture kind of finds you and hugs you, and it's nice. So
I really like being able to, like I said before, it's really like a family, and I've only been here like less than a year, and I still feel like everybody, it's just good people. Even if I make something like really shitty, someone's always like, that's really cool, or tries to, say like, oh, you can do better on that, or stuff like that. Like there's no, like if I show Will something, if he's like, oh, you can change it you can change it this way or that way, or, always room for improvement, and yeah, everybody just wants to help, and it's really cool. Yeah.
As soon as you walk into the space, you see artwork. Covering every inch of the walls in Space 1026 are doodles, handwritten political messages, creative reinterpretations of classical phrases, and recreation of pop culture images. The physical space is created by the artists who work there, so it serves as a representation of that community. The walls capture not only the minds of its artists, but also show the development of language through time in that space, how ideas evolve and overlap, how words of self-expression shape and take up space in new territories, and how each individual part comes together to create an environment much larger than itself.
And, life is a simulation and all that kind of stuff. I think it's pretty interesting.
Is that how
Does anybody think life is a simulation?
Sorry.
If you think that I'm not gonna like have ending credits with you doing that, then you are completely wrong.
Did you guys